Hi guys, welcome back to Mikey's American Dream. This is episode 2 and today I'm going to answer the question of why the USA and why Texas. So it's kind of simple, but you can overcomplicate anything. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you pretty much from the start why we chose the USA and really why it wasn't a choice at all, right? Why it was really easy move for us. So before we do that, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, or like this video and subscribe to the channel rather, should I say. And if you're new to this channel or haven't seen my other channel, head over to my other channel. The link is just down below in the description. It's Mikey Reacts and it's a reaction channel. I react to a whole host of things from country music, politics, sports, history, all American cultural stuff. So you would absolutely love that. And you can also head over to Patreon. The link is just down below in the description. It will cost $5 per month. That's less than a cup of coffee in New York. And you can see exclusive videos, up to 60 videos that are not available on this channel or the other channel, mainly based around politics and critiquing what's happening in the world and the United States today from my point of view, and having open and honest conversations with people such as yourselves through chats. So that's something that I really enjoy doing. It's an open rhetoric. All opinions are absolutely 100% welcome, and you get a bunch of a bunch of exclusive content that you can't get here. So let's get to why. So, why? First of all, it's obviously apparent to you that I and Tasha as well, we love the United States, and it's been something that I felt for a long time. It's a really weird phenomenon considering I grew up British with a Greek heritage, and but the USA since I was a teen has really resonated with me in its ideals. And in fact, we just took a trip over to Florida. We were there for 7 days, 6 nights. 7 days, 6 nights. That's it. And so I've got some footage. We visited some small towns in what you would call maybe rural America, and it was absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna create a compilation of videos and footage that I've got from the trip, and I'll probably post that as my next video as a little taste of what our vlogs will be like when we move over to the United States. Obviously they'll be a bit more refined once we get there permanently. But anyway, so I've also want to point out that I've seen that there have been some questions that have been asked down below in the comments. I've written them down, I've kept note of them, and that will be in the next couple of videos as well. I will dedicate specific videos and episodes to answering your questions. So keep the questions coming. In fact, the more questions I get, the better this experience can be for everyone, because you get to find out some things about me, and you can respond to those questions with absolutely anything you want, with your own stories and even more questions possibly. So it really allows and helps you to get to know me, and really builds our relationship as fellow YouTube users and creators, whatever it may be, right? So first let me say that in the first video, obviously I just said how much I love the USA and the culture, and I feel like I identify more with specifically like Southern American mindset, obviously the southern states, and of course I would include Texas in that, and obviously northern Florida, and even to an extent like western parts of the United States, like Midwest, maybe has like a very similar mindset. Like even out west Texas or up north in Montana, there'll be a similar mindset to probably how I'm feeling about life in general, and politics, economics, whatever it may be, right? And I identify more with that mentally, I say, than with British culture. Nothing against British culture. I just, there's something more free and natural about the way the American mindset is, as opposed to the British mindset, which is a really weird mixture between sort of like a freedom of expression, thought, free economy, free markets, and a mix between socialism and collectivism, all mixed together, that I'm not really a fan of. And then you can bring it right back to the history as to why I love the United States. So the history is what led me down this rabbit hole of learning about American culture and discovering the amazing culture of like self-sufficiency and the idea of manifest destiny, which has propelled the US into like the world's largest superpower, which is the reality, and you can't really compete with the US on any front really at the moment. People will cite China and etc, but no, really, no, that's just rhetoric, that's just talk, that's not reality. We know that. But sadly, in many places, this sort of ideology of self-sufficiency and manifest destiny has really become a changing mindset that no longer really exists within the youth of American society, much the way it doesn't really exist outside of the United States at all. And it seems that it's fading, and the mindset, that very mindset that sets an American apart from a European, in my eyes, has really and it has done so for the last 2 centuries, and I don't want to see that change. I identify with that kind of self-sufficiency, individualist approach, isolationist approach, wholeheartedly, of course, unless something needs to be done. Like, for example, Second World War was a just cause, I think, to allow isolationism to step aside for that one was probably a good thing. So I've got my points. I've actually had them written down, not so I'd forget them, but I want to make them more concise so they're easier to understand, I suppose. And look, my first one, and it's a cliche and people hate it. They say, oh, you're not really free, but you are. Freedom and the free market, I think they go hand in hand, but I'll explain what I mean by that. So freedom, I would say, because I'm technically free here in the UK, right? But in fact, the constitution here isn't codified. There's nothing to suggest that laws can't be passed that restrict my ability to be free. For example, at one point in time, firearms were legal to use for defensive purposes in the UK. They no longer are. They're only for sporting purposes. You can't get one without a specific license, and the police coming to your house and checking that you have a correct gun safe bolted to the foundations of the property. You can't have anything semi-automatic over a 22 long rifle. And you most certainly cannot use a firearm in defense of your life or your property. So if someone comes into your house for any reason, even to cause you harm, theoretically, if you open your gun safe and shoot that person, you're in breach of the law. I can't have that. That's an unsafe way to be, in my personal opinion. And it's a very European mindset, aside from Switzerland, which, you know, is Switzerland, right? So there's that. And then obviously the free market, right? Well, again, you can claim that the market isn't genuinely free, like, for example, in medicine, understandable, in like pharmaceuticals. I get it, that's fine. But there are more things available. There are more things available to the individual person. Things are cheaper, petrol, like gas, for example, etc., because of the free market. Even medicine, the quality of service is actually better than you get in the UK, because this is a socialist way of running things in the UK, where you have the National Health Service, and that's pretty much it. Basically, freedom in the free market, everything that's the American ideal, right? That's what has been created through the revolution and through the Civil War, and fighting to preserve freedoms. And that's very, very important. That's something that I think Europe has lost track of, and it's very much a communal mindset where all for one, one for all, which is all good, but then it really comes to the detriment of the working man or woman, for that matter. And then the second thing is opportunity and freedom. Opportunity and genuine opportunity. Now, I want to add, before I carry on with my sort of list of reasons, right, that all of these are practical and pragmatic reasons. The way I feel about moving to the United States is nothing practical nor pragmatic. It is simply the fact that I love the country, and it's a country that I want to be a part of and participate in its future, right? But I'm giving you a list of the pragmatic reasons that I have, and one of those is opportunity. So I believe that in the US, like, genuinely, there is genuinely good opportunity for those who want to work hard, and rewards are reaped for that hard work. And that's not so much the case in Europe, where we're paying a 20% sales tax. Anything over £48,000 that we make, which is about $53,000, we pay 40% tax on. Right, 40% tax here in the UK on anything above like $53,000. That's ridiculous, right? Even with state and federal tax, if you live in a state with state and federal tax, maybe aside from New York and California, you're paying far less than that. So what I've noticed as well is salaries for the same job, for the same skill set, almost double, especially in my industry. And I live in central London, supposedly one of the economic hubs of Europe and the world. I found jobs in Venice, Florida, with a population of like 10,000 people, a small town on the coast, where they're offering me double the salary to do the same job. So there's more economic opportunity, 100%. And that, of course, creates a better life for yourself and your children and the family around you. So it's a no-brainer. And number three is from an ideological perspective. It's the ideology of self-governance. And interestingly enough, I love the skepticism of the government. Which isn't something you have here. Well, you have, it's vocal, I guess. Nothing's really done about it. Nothing's really changes no matter what happens. And I love that in the US it's backed by the rigidity of the Constitution. For example, in the UK, if you don't know this, on every single street, pretty much, there's a speed camera that tracks and monitors your speed. So if you're doing something like 3 miles per hour over the speed limit, you're caught, fined, and you get points on your license. You get enough points on your license over a course of 6 years, it's taken away from you. In the US, there aren't really speed cameras. I don't know if there is a place that has speed cameras, but as far as I know, they tried it and it was brought to the Supreme Court, who ruled it as unconstitutional. Now, the rigidity of the Constitution ensured the freedom of the individual to be able to drive their vehicle down the street without being photoed every 5 minutes. And I absolutely love that. That's a really good, obviously the right to privacy, which we technically have here in the UK, but that's not really put into practice as rigidly as it is in the US. That's something that I absolutely love. That skepticism that the government should not control every aspect of my life is amazing, and it doesn't exist in Europe, in my opinion. People may think it, they don't enact it. I love how often government decisions are taken to Supreme Court, challenged and overturned. I think that's fantastic and not something you see very frequently in our judicial and governmentary system. That's something I love about American policy. And then you have, again, another ideological aspect of it is individualism, which I spoke about already. And using individualism over this whole collectivism and socialist ideology, which is very different from the European pseudo-socialism is what I call it, because it's not socialism quite, but it is socialism at the same time. So the UK is a capitalist country with a socialist healthcare system, with a huge welfare state. So it's kind of the two mixed together, supposedly to work hand in hand, but they don't, because, for example, now for me to get an appointment at a dentist it's not difficult if it's an emergency, but I'm only entitled to 1 cleaning per year, and I still have to pay for it. Granted, it's subsidized, so it's cheaper, but I would rather pay $100 or $200 per cleaning and have them as frequently as I wish, So yeah, again, things like the NHS, they sound amazing, but they fail to function effectively. You have sometimes waits of up to 6 months to a year for a referral. I had to get a wisdom tooth taken out last year, not the one that I had taken out a couple of days ago, and it was a bit of a difficult one. And eventually I got it taken out by my regular dentist, who managed it just fine. But I had been referred to an oral surgeon, and I was on the referral list for over 8 months, and they never contacted me. So you understand, that was 8 months of pain for no reason. That's what the NHS does at the moment, and it's overrun. There's not enough funding. There's not enough funding to treat everyone. You're more likely to get sick and get really sick because you're not getting looked after, is the reality. And they're still taking $300, $400 away out of my paycheck every single month to pay for it, right? So it's not free, is it? Anyway. And I like the idea that everyone in the US is deemed to be responsible for their own destiny and their own success. I absolutely like that. I do believe we should help people that need help, and we do. The United States does. It does have a welfare program. It does have Medicaid that can help individuals who can't afford to have insurance or can't afford to pay for procedures. Understandable. But it's not as far spread and abused as it is here in the UK, in my personal opinion. And everyone is responsible for their own destiny. We're not socialists in the United States. I love that. And then you have the standard of the lower gas prices, which I mentioned in the previous video. We're paying like $1.80 for a litre here. That's $8 a gallon is our average price in the UK, right? You guys are paying $3 a gallon and complaining about it, which is amazing. I love to have that complaint. I can't wait to complain that my gas is $3 a gallon. Can't wait. No restrictions on things like engine size. Like, I can't have a full-size F-150 here. They don't exist. I can have a Ford Ranger at a maximum. That's a 3-cylinder turbocharged EcoBoost engine. It's nothing special. For example, you can't drive into the inner city of London with any car without paying a $15 congestion charge fee. You can't drive a diesel made before 2018 into the outskirts of London without being charged $15 congestion charge fee. You can't. People have to sell their cars or just not go to work. Ridiculous. Far lower taxes, like I mentioned already. That's sales tax, absolutely everything. Everything's taxed at a far lower rate in the United States than it is in the UK and the rest of Europe. I mean, places like Nordic countries that we're talking about, they're taxed at like 60%. That's ridiculous. The healthcare may be technically more expensive in the US. It's more efficient, it's more effective, service is better, and it's generally better healthcare. You're more likely to survive, although it might cost you some more. That's fine by me. I respect my life over money any day of the week. And there are a whole lot of other benefits that I'm so excited for. That was kind of a rundown of like the practical reasons or that we're moving to the US. But the reality is, all of those could be lies and not true. And I would still move to the United States because of the people. I find the people, especially in the places that we're looking to move to, like in Florida and Texas, to be absolutely amazing, extremely hospitable. They're really, really welcoming, and I think that's absolutely awesome. I can't wait to be a part of that culture. And really, the choice for us was between Florida and Texas. Now, I know that Florida has like a lower property tax than Texas can, and both have zero state income tax. So pragmatically, we should have really chosen Florida. But we preferred Florida initially anyway, and we have family there, so it's easier. Look, we have family in Texas too, I think, but they're quite distant. Our family in Florida is closer, and we get on with them. We see them very often. So that was a bonus for us. But I suppose Houston to Cape Canaveral is about a 10-hour drive. It's not so bad. But we were finding it really, really difficult to like find work, and especially hiring international applicants. Like I said, the process is lengthy and expensive, both for the employee and the employer. So that can be really difficult. So I understand that we got so close to getting jobs, and then once they really settled in that we're international applicants and they had to go through this process, it was too much hassle for them to go through. I understand. I'm not holding that against anyone. But as luck would have it, Tasha got a position she got offered a job in Texas, and my visa is being processed also separately. And Texas is just such a great state that it was really a no-brainer. There's no way we're looking back. This is where we're going forward with. If it wasn't Florida, it was going to be Texas. If it wasn't Texas, it's going to be Florida. We really weren't fussy between it. We love both states, and we can't wait for our new life. We can't wait. So if you're asking me why it was between Florida and Texas, I think you know why. Something to do with their governors, something to do with the way the states are run, something to do with the ideology of their citizens and their residents. You know what I'm talking about. I know that you know what I'm talking about. There's a reason why Texas and Florida are two of the best states to live in the States, and that's because of the way they're governed. It's because of their policies. And that's the bottom line. There's no two ways about it, none whatsoever. So that's the kind of environment we want to be in. That's the kind of environment we want our kids to grow up in. We want our kids to grow up completely free, without fear of everything you might be in fear of in the UK. Fear is the wrong word, but I don't want to worry about my child's safety in terms of medicine because the hospital's full. So stuff like that, which has been the case very often. Sometimes I wait 8-9 hours in the ER just to get seen if I ever had to go. So I just don't go anymore. And that's the case with a lot of people. A lot of people, get unwell because of it. Anyway, guys. Thank you so much for being on this, watching episode 2. The next episode is going to be just a little montage of what we got up to in Florida. I'll add some clips in there of us a couple months back as well when we went shooting, because I was teaching Tasha how to shoot. One of her first times handling a firearm. She did really, really well. This time around, I never got a video of it, but I got her to shoot a full-size AR, chambered in 5.56 before she was using 9mm. She actually preferred the 5.56, which was absolutely great. So getting her comfortable around firearms, getting her comfortable using firearms is going to be really important for me, because I want her to exercise her right to carry, you know, maybe like a single stack Glock, chambered in 9mm, something small that she can carry in a purse, for example. Something practical, doesn't kick too much. I'm not going to give my 5-foot fiance a 45, you know, a 45 chambered in 1911, or a full metal, full size sidearm. That's not going to happen. But once she gets comfortable using the AR and having a sidearm, that's going to be really, really great for her safety, and also getting into the ideology of what it means to be a free American is really, really important to me, and for also to pass on to our children. So thank you very much for being here in this episode. I'll post that little video tomorrow with a little introduction, and hopefully you will enjoy seeing what we get up to. And our little vlogs are going to get better over time. Once we move to the States, they're going to be more frequent, every day almost. So we're really looking forward to sharing that experience with you. And of course, keep the questions coming, because my plan is to make a full 20-minute video on as many questions as I possibly can. I want to answer all of them. I'm not going to miss any of them out. So after I post about our holiday, our vacation, now that we're going to become Americans soon, well, living in the United States anyway, I'll do a video answering all your questions, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, guys. So thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, head over to Patreon if you want to see some exclusive content, and head over to my other channel as well. If you want to see some country music reactions, some American sports, American football reactions, head over there. Links just down below on both of those. So thank you very much. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much for your support.